Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. And today you're tuning in to part 2 of maybe a 3-part series where I ask my spirit guides, my specifically assigned to me spirit guides that read political or the political environment. They're going to answer your questions. This is part 2. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. We have some great questions for part 2. I'm going to try to be as fast as possible. You know, if you're new here, the guides do drone on, don't they? Because I'm channeling this, I can't really hurry them up. You know what I mean? They've got 60% of my consciousness and they're kind of controlling this thing. So I'm going to do my best. All right, we're going to get started with Mary Myers has a question, and she wants to know if DeSantis doesn't become president, and he will not, and ends his governorship, and he will he threaten us further? The funny thing about that is when I read this question, the guides want to say he'll live on in infamy. Like, I mean, I guess that means he'll be famous in a bad way for some foreseeable future, potentially even, sorry to say this, Floridians, but he could be talked about as long as 8 to 10 years from now. So what does that mean? It means that the things that he affected negatively in the state of Florida, people will just be talking about it for many years to come. So he's not going to threaten you guys, but his presence will continue to be a thorn in your side. It's kind of like, well, that's from the DeSantis years, or that was because of DeSantis. So you may even use DeSantis like as a verb. We got DeSantis, you know what I mean? So he's not going to threaten you. He's going to trundle off is the word. Does he have like this weird gait? Because the guides are showing me this weird gait that reminds me of like trundling, like a toddler. A toddler toddles off. That's kind of what he reminds me of. That's what they're showing me. Now the question really is, he's not going to get anywhere near the presidency. End of story. The question is, really, how long is he going to be in the governorship? Because I believe he has more than a few years left on his term. I don't see him serving that term out. I recall they're reminding me the last video that I did, part 1 of this video for this week, which is July 26th, 2023. They talked about Charlie Crist taking over. I haven't read your comments yet, so you guys are probably, who knows? Maybe your heads just blew off of your body at the thought of Charlie Crist. I don't know. I just posted that video today, so I haven't even had a chance to look at how you guys have taken that news. But let me just tell you, oh, right. That's right. They're reminding me, remember, well, if you haven't watched part 1, they talked about Charlie Crist, and then they said there was another person, another man that was going to throw his hat in the ring. He was not going to be a white guy. I actually, now that I'm in the energy again, I believe this man might be Hispanic or even Cuban heritage. So that's interesting. I think DeSantis's governorship is going to be challenged. Let me take a deep breath, because that energy is strong, heavy, bad, right in my heart, or actually my solar plexus right below. Next year, 24. The energy suggests that he's going to be out in 24, at the very latest 25. Like the longest this man could manage to swat. I feel like King Kong swatting like the planes and the things coming at him. He's swatting at things. What that kind of gives you the impression that these things are minuscule. They're not worth his trouble. But remember, what I keep seeing with DeSantis is, while he's looking up here swatting at these, maybe they're minor legal troubles or minor situations, somebody kicks his legs out. His legs just get kicked out. He never sees it coming. They keep telling me that he never sees it coming. His legs get kicked out. And when you don't see it, you can't even put your arms out to, you know what I mean? Like he literally, his chest hits the ground. He doesn't even have time to bring his hands out to break the fall. So yeah, he's not going to threaten you. His deeds will threaten you. His deeds will live on in infamy. So that's kind of the thing you guys are going to have to deal with. Sorry about that, Mary. But the good news is that he's not going to be president and that he's going to be pushed aside. He's another one like Clarence Thomas, like some of these other people. Their wives are actually more worrisome than they are. You know what I mean? Their wives are the ones with the teeth. So that's just something. I don't know what's going to happen with her. She's going to push him under the bus when the bus comes for them, whatever that is, allegedly the karma bus, whatever. She's going to be like, she steps to the side, like does this little maneuver and does this and pushes him. Dang, that's some rough. Well, you lie down with dogs, you get fleas. My dog don't got fleas, but anyway, we them Republican dogs got fleas. Let me move on. Jeez Louise. All right. L Flower 1 stars says, will the January 6th trials be completed before Election Day? Number 1, follow-up question. Will 45 be guilty on all counts? Okay, let's start with question 1. Will the January 6th trials be completed? No, they're not going to be completed. No. These trials are, gosh, they're stretching out. They're stretching into, now that's crazy. Well, apparently there's going to be trials stretching into potentially early 2025. So they're going to go through 24. The election is, I guess that makes sense, right? The election is in November 2024, so it makes sense. If it's not going to be completed by the election, they're going to go into 2025. All right. It shocked me, but now it makes sense. Now, the thing about these January 6th trials, gosh, you got all these fake electors. You got Michigan doing trials. You got Florida doing trials. You might have another state doing trials. You've got the fake electors themselves coming up on trials, but you also have Congress people, senators. You have their aides. You have their attorneys. You have, again, like we talked about when Rand Paul's office burned down, right? There was a courier that's going to be a witness, right? So you have to understand people that are also going to be on trial are going to be aides or couriers or people that aided and abetted. Okay, so that think about how long we've been, or I say we, but the DOJ has been bringing those people that were at the actual insurrectionists. Think about how long they've been bringing those people to trial. They're still bringing new people to trial, right? So this is going to go on into 25, but the important people, well, the important to me, right? The important to me and you are probably people that would allegedly be Marjorie Taylor Greene, Boebert, Jordan, Hawley, Giuliani, Trump, Eastman, Meadows, the list goes on and on and on, right? Who's that guy they're showing me? Oh, I can't get his name. I hate when they show me a picture and I don't have the name. But, the usual suspects, you guys know who they are. Those are the ones that I feel that the DOJ, to the degree that they can. So again, to recap, right? I see potentially 3 Congress people being, at least 3 being kind of in the initial group that get indictments. And then there's going to be another wave of indictments and then another wave of indictments. The first wave of indictments I feel is going to happen this fall, September, October, November. And then I feel like there's another wave of indictments that happen in the spring. Now, the first wave of indictments that happen this fall, they go to court. They go to trial in the spring to very early summer. So this is just going to continue. This is going to be the gift that just keeps giving, right? So we're going to be not even paying it. We're going to be like, oh yeah, now they're trying this person. Whereas right now we're ready. We're ready to celebrate, right? This is going to be such an everyday occurrence that it's just going to be like, yeah, okay, more of those idiots are being brought up before a judge. So now your next question is, will 45 be guilty on all counts? Of which case? You know what I mean? I got to be honest with you guys. I think that 45 is going to be before a court. I think I can't guarantee this because, if you don't know, there was a time when I asked my spirit guides almost every day how long 45 was going to live. Now, he was in office at that time, but me asking how long he was going to live, I really got myself in the doghouse. They were like, Susan, we need to have a talk here. You can't keep your vibration high and be wishing for someone to die every day. You know what I mean? So I have to be careful about that. But I would tell you that I do think that he's going to cross over before we really get our money's worth, before we really get justice. So I think maybe some of those counts he'll be found guilty on. Maybe 1 or 2 court cases he'll be found guilty on. But I believe there's 3 or 4 in the hopper that he's going to either A, be found not competent to stand trial, or B, he's going to have crossed over. So I don't see him going through all the court cases. I don't see that. But I do think there's really a potential right now that he'll be alive and or competent to stand trial through at least the first 1 or 2. Because the American people need to see this, right? I mean, the left needs to see it, but the right needs to see it. We all need to see that if an American president breaks the law, they're held accountable, they get a jury of their peers, just like any American, or some Americans, mostly white Americans. But anyway, they get a jury of their peers, and at least the president is held to some sort of basic equal standard. Okay. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense when I'm channeling. I don't know what I just said 2 sentences ago. I'm going to let that go. Hopefully that gave you something to chew on and think about, and maybe you can, maybe that satisfies your question. All right. Andrea Gibson says, please ask the guides when I can open my champagne regarding 45 or the former guy or Donald Trump. I only have 1 bottle. All right, Andrea, you've got 1 shot at this, girl. 1 shot. It's personal preference. Me, I shot my confetti cannons off when he was indicted. When I saw him go into that courtroom and blah, blah, blah. Another reason to celebrate, the guides are saying, is that Congressman Liao, how do you say it? He's from Hawaii, I believe. He read into congressional record, the verdict of Trump's case with E. Jean Carroll, where, for the record, for all history, he got to say that Trump was convicted of rape. So that's something to celebrate, right? So there's a lot of reasons to celebrate. You kind of have to pick yours. But if you just heard me do the question just before, I would perhaps choose maybe the next indictment. Because what if you don't celebrate and then the dude crosses over or something? I mean, you're robbed of your celebratory, opportunity. So I don't know. This is a hard one. I don't know what to tell you. It's personal preference, but I wouldn't wait too long. I wouldn't wait. We're never going to get a picture. This is breaking news, right? We're never going to get a picture with him with handcuffs on because of the things we talked about in the last video. We don't want a civil war. We don't want to activate, like make these MAGA people like literally lose their minds, get their ammo and their AR and run out and do something crazy. DOJ has 2 bad or 10 bad choices. They're trying to decide which is the better of the bad choices. So I would pick an indictment, maybe watch that congressman reading into the record that Trump is a rapist. Man, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good thing to celebrate right there, right? So good luck with that, dear. And maybe you just need to buy another bottle. I don't know. Okay. Martha M says, do the guys think the GOP is preparing for another coup, either internally or externally, or both? And Martha M says that she's Cuban born and terrified of these coups. Hey, I don't blame you. This is serious stuff. This is the thing that the guides have been telling me the last couple of days is this is not a drill. This is not a drill. This is the real deal, right? This is the real thing. That's why I'm telling you, Biden and the DOJ and Fani Willis are being so cautious. They're really doing their best to keep those groups destabilized, right? Maybe it's going to be Michigan. Maybe it's going to be, Georgia. Maybe it's going to be DC. Or maybe it's going to be New York. Who's going to pop on Trump next, right? So trying to destabilize and not give them a target. Personally, I think the greatest chance of an uprising or problems is when the Congress people get indicted. That's what's going to make them lose their minds. Truly, that is what's going to make them lose their minds. And, really, MTG and Boebert and I don't have that guy's name. Some of these people they're much more strident. They're much more vocal and calling for violence than Trump was. So I think they actually have more ability to foment that. So around the time that the indictments for the Congress people hit the news, please, and I will be on this video. I will be talking to you because this is really serious. I want you guys to understand. You probably need to take I'm checking to make sure if this is something I want to say. Right. So they're saying it couldn't hurt, to be honest with you, to take your stickers off your car. It couldn't hurt to take down the sign. Even if you live in a blue area, that's what happens. These knuckleheads come out from the red, basically the cockroach hidey holes, scurry out and go to blue areas. They target blue areas. So you're not necessarily safe in a blue area because that's where they're going to go. So as things really heat up, you really might want to kind of just go neutral with any sort of thing like that. After all this blows over, buy new stickers, right? This is an opportunity to freshen up your stickers. So they're not going to be successful. The thing that also you should understand is if one of these groups, these militias, one of these groups does something very outward and active and egregious, we are prepared. Biden is prepared. We're more prepared now than we have been in the last 6 years because we've had however many years since Jan 6, and to the degree that they could, Biden and the DOJ has ears, eyes, and people, embedded in these groups, but also they have people embedded in the sheriff's departments, the police departments, right? So I'm not saying that all of them are going to be caught or we know about all of them, but I'm telling you, there's more attention and eyes and focus on this kind of stuff, the chatter in the back, the back alleys of the internet, they're more aware than ever before. So what does that mean? It means that, yeah, they might show up and do one thing, but they're not capable of doing anything of any substance. The thing is, Biden doesn't even want them to show up and do one thing, right? We don't want that. So this is Biden. He's guys like superhero kind of ability to do this heavy lifting, right? So that's what I see. I see energetically that you might have a flare up in Portland or Seattle or definitely Atlanta, potentially in some of the blue areas of the Northeast, potentially in Arizona, potentially in Florida, but not really so much Florida. There might be some little flare-ups, but it's not a coup. The coup's done. That's done. Now, what I don't like, and I talked to you guys about this, is the things they're doing, like the Alabama saying, screw you, I'm not going to pay attention to the Supreme Court. These are things we really have to get under control, right? We really need to get these states back under control. They're trying to literally just mock the Supreme Court, mock the federal government. Biden is creating a plan for that. And he is going to deal with that, but he has got a lot on his hands right now. So hopefully that makes you feel better. It's not really it is a coup, but it's not an outward coup. It's a slow moving coup that I think the DOJ and whatever entity that Biden wants to use, whether that's local or the National Guard, he's going to handle it. Okay, let me move on. Miss Deal 07 says, will there be a time when offshore accounts, meaning offshore bank accounts, are revealed and or forbidden for government workers? Yes, we've talked about this. This is where I feel like there might even be a new department or a new division within a department that specifically works to scrub, identify, investigate, audit government workers' financial records. Now, this is losing your freedoms. This is what we're talking about, right? This is going to make those groups that really want to champion freedoms, it's going to make them just lose their minds. But I'm sorry, we have to understand that there are countries that want to do us harm, and an easy way to do that is to compromat, is to get dirt, to create a situation where a government employee who's maybe got some, freaky, habits somewhere, and these countries identify that person, say, here, you're into XYZ, here it is, and then takes pictures. Boom, that employee is now owned by that company, by that country. They can't quit. They can't do anything, because guess what? They're going to go to prison. It's not that they're going to get fired. It's they're going to go to prison. I'm going to jump ahead, but this is what's happening to our politicians, right? There's somebody that's got a question in here about McConnell. Today I just got this download about McConnell and Grassley, and this is allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. But Grassley tried to retire. I mean, that dude is older than, I think he drove a Model A. I mean, I think he had to go out to his engine and crank it up. You know what I mean? Like, this dude is old, right? And he wanted to retire, and they drug him back because they knew his numbers were good, that he could get hired or elected again. But really, there's this sense that also, especially with McConnell, that as long as I'm in office, I'm safe, right? Like, they're not going to press charges against me, or I'm not, I'm safe. Does the energy just suggest that I'm safe here? Now that could be because there's compromise, that somebody is saying, you can't retire. Did we say you could retire? Do you remember this? And they show pictures. You can't do anything. We own you. So you're going to do what we say, and you're important to us only because of your position, be that in the government, be that on a police force, be that in the Senate, in the Congress, or as a judge. Okay, so these countries are using that compromise, and this is one of the ways they're doing it, right? So your question is right on the mark, because if you're going to work for the government, I'm sorry, if you're going to get a classification, like if you're going to get a secret classification, you have to be audited. That's part of the process, right? So perhaps we're going to get to the place where if you're going to work for the government, you're going to get audited. And perhaps it's just sort of like the guides are showing me, like drug testing, right? Like, we pulled your number. You're going to get audited. You're going to get drug tested. It's the same thing. Is it a loss of freedom? Maybe, but it comes with the job. You want to work for the government. You want to get this government pension. You want to get this good job, this whatever. Then this is what you're going to have to do. So yes, I do see us changing that. And I see us changing it also for those congressmen and senators too, as well as presidents and judges. So anybody that works in the government, what they just told me, also the military, because this is how they're waging the war. This is how they're turning citizens against us. This is what happened to that young man, that private that ran across the North Korean, international border right there, because maybe it wasn't money, but it was a honeypot. What's a honeypot? Well, we know you're into men. We know you're into women. We know you're into this or that, whatever your freak is. And then we give it to you. And then you gladly take that. We take pictures. We own you. Now, this gentleman, this private, I feel like they radicalized him, so another way to do this is just to befriend you and then outsize your grievances, right? Like whatever your grievance is, oh, I agree. You're so right. You shouldn't put up with that, right? Just totally pump up their rage and anger until you are their only friend. This is how cults work. We're all going to be experts in how cults work before this is over with. So yes, the answer is yes. Next question is dramatic entrance. All right. Hi, Susan. Hi, dramatic inserts. Hope you're enjoying it. Yes, I am. Okay, let's move on. I would love to know if Trump gets indicted, will he be pardoned by the next Republican president that gets elected in the future? Honey, that man going to be gone. He going to be buried in the golf course. I don't even know if they're going to give him that. To be honest with you, his kids are going to be like, can we get him doesn't he get some burial service being a president? Don't y'all got space for him somewhere? Can we put him in one of the military, graveyards? What can we do? Because we don't have any money. And yeah, you can keep him. We're going to donate his body to science. That's what they're going to be calling. Here's Ivanka. Yeah. University of Minnesota. Do you accept bodies for science? Because I got a really good one for you. Oh, you're going to love this body, So yeah, he's going to be gone and he's going to be a cadaver on some medical student's table. So yeah, that was really dark. Sorry, that was really dark. I'm going to get in trouble for that probably, but I don't care. Detention. Okay, no problem. So does that make any sense? I think I answered your question. His impeachment isn't going to be expunged. He's not going to be exonerated. He's not going to be pardoned. He's going to be a nothing taco. Scarily enough, DeSantis lives on more in infamy for some reason than even Trump. That's just crazy. And that's going to make Trump roll over in his grave, because we all know how much he really hates DeSantis. It also just tells you how bad DeSantis is, doesn't it? All right, let's move on. Roger M. Rivera says, speaking of finances, I didn't know we were, due to all the years that he had his empire, and that he has evaded Uncle Sam, will all Trump Tower buildings and hotels be taken away from him by the IRS, including the ones in New York City, Chicago, maybe even his hotel buildings? Yes, I do see that happening. What is that word? Not vacated. When you, they're going to be selling his stuff at a yard sale. Let's just put it that way. I don't even know who's going to bid on it, because this is very strange for me to even get this information, if you ask me. But I see these people bidding because it is real estate, right? You take the Trump name off of the building, and his buildings are in New York City, right? I mean, Chicago. I mean, places where other companies would like to be. But funny enough, I feel like the people bidding on this fire sale, like the IRS, it's like a tax sale. You know what I mean? It's like when the county repossesses something and then they just put it up for a tax sale to try to recoup whatever they can. I swear, I see people going, oh, the energy is so bad. I don't want to bid on that. No, like just turning up their nose. Like, that's hilarious to me, because you don't think of those types of people that can afford a building like that would think about energy, right? So, hey, more power to them. The rich are catching on. Yeah, it's going to get taken away. One of his buildings might be torn down. Like the Chicago building, it's got energy that somebody may implode it and build I'm telling you, it's like, one thing. Yeah. So the guides are telling me, the rich people are, they are superstitious, right? You wouldn't really have made your money if your daddy, mama didn't give it to you, then you got it on your own. You got it because you listened to your gut. You know what I mean? So I hear the word snake bit. Like, this property is snake bit. We are going to need to implode it, and we're going to need to, plus this person wants their own ego, right? They don't want to own Trump. It's bargain bin. It has this feeling of being bargain bin property. They would much rather just raise it and then create their own, phallic, building gesture to the sky. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's move on. Woo, good Lord, y'all. All right. Madrid says, this is a really, this energy's already got me all wound up, and now I'm going to be getting really wound up. Madrid says, will Jenny Thomas be indicted for the elector scheme? Also, will Thomas resign? Yes, I see Thomas resigning. This is what's happening right now, right? Like, there's this push-pull energy. Jenny, first of all, you have to get over the hump that these people believe that they're ever going to get in trouble. These people truly believe that they're untouchable because they've always known a judge or a Supreme Court judge or a DA or an AG. They've always known people in powerful places that have given them a pass. Okay, so first thing we have to do is really get their attention. Like, I feel like Jack Smith slaps her across the face, and she's like, "Wait, what?" Like that didn't even register. Like that, she's like, "What just happened? Somebody hit me? What happened?" So he and he's not doing it with his hands because he's a gentleman. So he does it with his gloves. Don't ask me where they get this stuff. I don't know. He's in his gloves. He's like, "Stop." And she's like, "What? Did you just hit me?" You know what I mean? And then she makes the phone calls. Remember, we talked about this already. You need to go back and watch the other videos. She makes the phone calls to the attorneys to not attorneys, because we found out that if you call your attorney and you enter into an attorney-client relationship and you're still doing something that could allegedly be against the law, then your attorney is now an accomplice and your attorney can be a witness against you. So she doesn't want to call an attorney because if she tells the attorney what's happening and she's still doing it, or he's still doing it, allegedly, then the attorney now is fair game for the DOJ. So she was calling other people to get advice. She was trying to get attorney advice like through an intermediary. She's up to here in it, you guys, up to her jowls. Now, your question is she going to get indicted? Well, so when I go into that energy, I hear yes. And I'm telling you guys, if Ginny Thomas gets indicted, this will be so historic that the sun will be blacked out. The guides are like, this will, maybe it'll happen in a solar eclipse, but they showing me the sun is blacked out. Like this is like the whole, like watching a sci-fi movie, the whole universe just slipped out of resonance, right? So they're saying yes, but I also know that this is the push-pull. See, once Ginny realizes, and when that's going to happen, I think is when MTG, Boebert, blah, 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 when they get their indictment letters or target letters, that's when Republicans' heads are going to just explode, right? And then they're going to get really mean and really nasty. You think they've been mean and nasty right now? You've not seen anything yet, okay? We have a wild, ugly, horrible, mean animal in a corner. Now, slap a bear claw trap on that thing, and how much more mean do they get, right? So this is where we're going for the next 3 to 6 months, 8 months. Okay. So they said yes. But once Ginny realizes this is the real deal, like, okay, slap, 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 slap. Okay, he's serious. He keeps slapping me. This man is serious. So then she's going to pull back. She's going to grab Thomas by his collar and start dragging him off of the Supreme Court. You have to get off the Supreme Court. No, I don't. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. Because I feel like Thomas doesn't know things. Okay. Thomas doesn't know things. She has kept things from him. Not because he would have stopped her, but because she didn't even want to answer to him. He's nothing. He doesn't run the show. He doesn't wear the pants in this marriage. She runs the show. I don't have to tell you anything. She just pats him on the shoulder. It's okay. You know, it's okay, Clarence. Right? Don't worry. Mama's got it under control. Well, I hope she's saying that when she's in handcuffs and when she's in an orange jumpsuit trying to get her one phone call in, you know. I can't read this energy. She's going to make him resign, but he doesn't want to. It's just like McConnell. McConnell should step down. He's already should have stepped down 1,000 times, but he doesn't. So I can't read the energy of somebody who, when faced with absolute, you know, the Tower card, absolute, you're going to get indicted, and they don't care. They just don't react to the energy. They don't care. I don't care. It's the kind of person where you literally have to drag them out. But I think he's going to get drug out either way because he's complicit. The guides are saying he's he's a whatever we just said earlier about the attorney, but when the guides are channeling, they just give me the words they give me. He's complicit, even if he says he wasn't. The DOJ will make sure that it looks like his name is all over this. And it is. He just didn't know. I don't know how to describe it. He didn't really know, or he didn't care to know, right? Just because you're saying I didn't look doesn't mean, like if there's a dead body in your bathroom and you say, well, I just stopped using that bathroom. I went to the guest bathroom. Honey, that ain't going to work. You knew there was a dead body in there. That doesn't, just because you said, well, I'm not a party to that. I didn't kill that person. I'm just going to close the door. That's not going to work. This is exactly how the deal is between Jenny and Clarence. Just because he didn't look, he looked the other way, doesn't make him an innocent. Okay. That's the best I can tell you about. And we'll just that's the energy. We're just going to have to see how these people use their free will to navigate this situation. Let's move on. Mary Knight says, here in California, we have both Adam Schiff and Katie Porter as the top two leads for Senator Feinstein's seat, as only one can take it. What happens to the other? I read about on this about a month or a little bit longer ago, and I felt like Adam Schiff was being elevated. Okay. Now that could mean that he's elevated to the senator seat, but I had gotten the impression that he was going to be elevated to the cabinet, to Biden's cabinet. But if Adam wins, is Adam going to win? So Adam, they're telling me right now, if he wants the senator seat, it's his. Katie Porter would take some time off because she kind of deserves a break, to be honest with you. This is a 24/7, 7 days a week kind of energy that she's constantly in the middle of. It's almost like being in a war 24/7, 7 days a week. There's just no time off. You're always having that kind of fight or flight, that kind of high energy, response from your body. So Katie Porter would take some time off, and then she would get back in it. She would get back. She's a servant. She's a public servant. She doesn't want to do anything else. She could get a job in a think tank, and that might be how she takes some time off, right? She continues to get a paycheck, and she's either working at a university or at a think tank. But one of them will be offered a place in the not in the cabinet per se, but outside of the cabinet, like a periphery, some sort of periphery job. I just don't know that she would want that, but that's what I get. Either Adam Schiff goes into the cabinet or he gets the senator, but he goes up, and then she's kind of behind him, but she's not disappearing. She's not going away. That's what I get right now. We'll have to see as it gets closer, because there's certainly some energy that Adam Schiff could do something else. Yeah, it's not written. There's things going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to in the California political landscape. So there's some jockeying going on that we just don't know about. Okay. And it's all good. There's nothing bad, nothing nefarious happening. Okay. So Ruthie H says, just curious what's happening health-wise with Mitch McConnell. He was just giving a speech and stopped talking mid-sentence. He looked totally lost and confused. Honestly, I hope he's okay. I hate to see anyone, except for a certain ex-president, in that state. Right. So this is what I was kind of alluding to earlier, in that Mitch McConnell is really hard for me to read. He's always been hard for me to read because my famous, and I don't even know if he golfs, but this is the famous analogy that they always use with Mitch McConnell. If you're on the golf course, it's flat, open, there's no trees. Here comes a fast approaching thunderstorm with a lot of lightning. Most people would seek shelter. You know what I mean? You don't want to be the tallest thing around when there's a really big lightning storm happening. And you probably don't want to be holding anything that might be conductive. But McConnell doesn't care. He stands there like, kill me. Don't care. Kill me. So this has been the thing they've shown me for a year. This is why, most people, I read the energy. Okay, this man or woman is going to take shelter. They're going to evade. They're going to hide, right? That 99.9% of the people would react to the energy in their environment. Mitch McConnell doesn't do that. And what I'm thinking now is, when I'm talking to the guides right now, because I think there have been some new developments with Mitch McConnell's health. We know that he had that fall. We know that he had to go to rehab. We know that was a pretty big health issue that he was dealing with. So when I'm going to his energy right now, he's really tired. He's really lightheaded. He's kind of, he is out of it. He's kind of just out of it. Like he's just not aware. And you know what I get? And this is what I alluded to just a few minutes ago. And I never got this before, because maybe we weren't close enough to the energy. Maybe the energy wasn't ripe, right? But it's ripe now. The energy is pretty good set. This guy wants to die on the Senate floor, or he wants to die as a senator. He doesn't want to retire. He doesn't want to A, let go of the power. B, he's going to be vulnerable. He's going to be vulnerable to be investigated again. Until 2023, if you were a sitting congressman or senator, you had quite a bit of protection against being investigated and against being indicted. Not to say that people weren't, because they were, but many, many people got away with things for decades before they were really, indicted and drummed out of office. Okay. This is what McConnell's thinking. McConnell's thinking, hey, I'm at death's doorstep. I'm not going to retire. I'm going to stay right here and fight the fight until I die. I have never gotten that message before. It makes me tired. What can happen is that, see, this is just this energy. This is the energy. This is an important message. We have an important message for you. And that is that in your personal life, if your spirit guides are like pushing you to do something and you're like, I don't think so. Now what does that feel like? Well, I have an idea that I need to go see the doctor. I'm not going to go see the doctor. I'm going to see the doctor. No way. And then, maybe your spouse says, honey, I think you should go to the doctor and get a checkup. I just kind of worrisome. I know I'm going to be fine. And then, you run into a good friend. They're like, oh man, you don't look so good. Maybe you should go to the doctor. Okay. So this is how the guides are pushing you. Then maybe you have a little episode. Let's say you have some kind of health episode and you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, whoa, okay, you need this test, you need to call back, or you need to make an appointment with the specialist, but you don't do it. That's the guides pushing you. Okay. That's the energy. That's what it looks like. The guides keep sending you these messages. You're not doing anything about it. This is the energy around the Democrats. The Democrats are getting the message, hey, you really need to work really harder. You need to hit harder. You may even need to hit under the belt. You may need to use the tactics that are being used against you. You really might need to take this seriously. Hey, are y'all taking this seriously? Hey, did you know about this? You really need to take that seriously. This is the universe. The universe is trying to tell Democrats, you've got to be more proactive. Following customs and norms ain't going to cut it. So now, how does that make sense? With McConnell, well, the picture they showed me was that McConnell, really and truly, his fellow senators should probably call him out and say, we're going to force you out. We're going to take a vote. we're going to force you out. You're not well. You don't look well. You're not answering questions. You're not with it. The problem is the majority of the Democrat senators are freaking the same way. They're all dinosaurs. They're all ancient. So if the Democrats would listen to the spirit guides, play hardball, call McConnell out and say, look, man, we're gonna call a vote here. We're gonna have to get you out of here. You're not well. You won't do it yourself. We're gonna do it, right? And sure, do it to us. You know what I mean? Turnabout is fair play. They're gonna do it anyway, right? So the Democrats need to start doing this kind of stuff, even if they don't do it with McConnell. They need to be very proactive about these things. This also means the Biden administration with dealing with Alabama, who's basically given the middle finger to the Supreme Court. You know, Abbott in Texas, giving the middle finger to the DOJ, or, you can't really take the time to go to 5 aides and have them read 7,000 pages of documents, court cases, precedents. Let me get a legal scholar in to look at the Constitution. For the love of God, people, this place is on fire. Get a fire hose and put it out. Just take action, right? So here we are with McConnell. I think he's either going to drop dead in the office, or he's going to get so bad that even the Democrats and some Republicans are going to join forces and out him, or we're going to do it in 24. In 24, we're going to have a bigger majority of senators, and we're going to have new blood in there. It's going to be younger blood in there, and they're going to raise hell until people like McConnell are removed. So that's what I have to say about that. Okay. Life is a Mindset. Lorraine says, do the guides recommend stocking up on flour and other ingredients due to the Russian grain embargo? So Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. Ukraine produces the vast majority of grains, flours, the things that we need to make bread, all those types of things. And that the fact that they've been at war has really affected that. And then on top of that, Russia has basically started blowing up grain silos. They're basically targeting grain. They're like, nobody's going to get any food. This is actually really going to affect Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. It's going to affect a lot of poor countries that literally depend on this grain. Now, is it going to affect the United States? Yes, it's going to affect Russia. It's going to affect Europe much more so, the continent of Africa much more so. It is going to affect the United States to a degree. And the reason I'm telling you is one that kind of irritates me, is because of that shortage of grain, the grain producers in the United States, they're going to just price gouge. The flour's going to go through the roof. Wheat's going to go through the roof. You remember how eggs were super expensive? That's what's going to happen to wheat. That's what's going to happen to flour. The guides are saying you really can't. I mean, you can buy flour, I think, and freeze it for some period of time, but this should not be a problem for the United States for months and months. But what I see is preemptive price raising by these companies. So yeah, stock up on it if you need to, but it's still going to catch up with us because you buy bread, maybe you buy bread once a week or once every couple of weeks. Well, the prices are going to be high. There's going to be very, very high. And it's not necessarily related to Russia or Ukraine. It's price gouging. It truly is price gouging. And I know that Biden has plans to address this, but I feel like he's playing catch up because he's got so many other bigger, more, dangerous problems to deal with. The price of bread is kind of going to be, like 10th down on his list. But yeah, if you want to stock up. But otherwise, just know that you may need to budget more money for those types of things. Anything that has grain in it, that has wheat or flour, I guess that could be pasta. I mean, so yeah, your grocery bill is going to go up again, and it's absolutely price gouging. It has nothing to do with the grain in Ukraine. Of course, these companies are going to make it like it does. Well, we're exporting more grain because of the Ukraine grain. I mean, it's a shoddy excuse according to the guides for entertainment purposes only. Let's move on. Brenda says, lately, Paul Manafort has been on my mind. Get help, Brenda. Get help. I heard that he wrote a book about 45 pardon that after he, I heard that he wrote a book after 45 pardoned him, but that's it. So he wrote a book, he disappeared. Wondering if he's contacted any of his old friends like Prigozhin, Putin, Deripaska. Seriously doubt he's the type to retire and go fishing. Well, what Manafort is doing right now, do I really want to look? Wait. Okay. They want to say, allegedly, that he's the bag man. He's being the bag man for some of these powerful people. So you might just look up, and maybe I'll put it on the screen because I don't even know what it is. What a bag man does for the mob. That's what he's doing. So he's not fishing. He didn't buy a timeshare. He's not retired. But he is very busy, but he's very quietly busy. You might follow that question up with, is he going to get busted? Right? Yes, he's going to get busted. He's very much on the mind of Jack Smith too. So yes, they're well aware of his whereabouts, they want to say, and also of his, doings, his things that he's doing. Okay, let me move on. Elflower 1 star said, oh, I read your question already. Fantastic. That means I'm ahead. Okay, loves Disney Tink says, I recently heard a report that a group calling itself the Flannery Group here in California bought up 55,000 acres of land in the surrounding area of Travis Air Force Base. Nobody can track who they really are. And when asked, their plans for the property seem to constantly change. There has also been a huge buy-up of land around the energy grid from the Columbia River through the Central Valley of California. I feel like you're saying, I have a great concern if it's China or worse. Can you and your team give any insight? Okay, the Flannery Group. Okay, when I do that, that's a sign right there. I feel weirded out. That's creepy. That's a sign of creepy. Like yeah. Okay. It also means proceed with caution, Susan. Okay. We will learn the lesson that we are going to create very large buffer zones around our military installations. And even with that or next to that, we're also going to learn that we're going to require, again, loss of freedom, more control. We're going to require that this division, probably the same division that's auditing people's, you're gonna have to be audited by the government to buy property. And if you're buying a large tract of property, it needs to be cleared by the government. Again, the people, the ACLU or whatever, they're going to freak out, right? They're going to freak out. I get it. We don't want to lose freedoms, but the problem here is that countries are coming in and stealthily doing things that's really causing major problems for the United States of America, right? Major problems. Like we don't really need Saudi Arabia owning our oil refineries here in the United States. What if we went to war? And what if Saudi Arabia decided they were supporting someone that was our enemy? We can't produce oil because our enemy's friend owns our refinery. What in the heck, right? We've got to understand this profitability model doesn't work. Some things either need to be state owned or state controlled because they're too important for our own freedom, for our safety, right? So going into the Flannery group, which I don't want to go into because it just creeps me out and I don't like that, is it's a front. The guides are saying it's a front, it's a shell company. I don't know how deep I want to go into this energy because I don't really like going into energy like this. So they just gave me the word a canard, which means a rumor or an unfounded thing. So that also means that some of the things being said about this group are unfounded or rumors. A canard, it's unfounded, it's a rumor. The Flannery group. The thing that I just wouldn't worry too much about it because I feel like whatever it is they're doing, it doesn't work. Their plans kind of go up in smoke. So I don't think the Flannery group is something to worry about, but they are a shell. And whatever they pass this land or sell this land or transfer this land, I don't know. There's something there that is nefarious. That's all I can tell you. It doesn't feel good. And then your other question is when they asked their plans. Okay, there's also been a huge buy-up of land around the energy grid from the Columbia River through the Central Valley of California. So again, the guides want to say there are, like, Saudi Arabia bought a bunch of water rights. I mean, you can buy it. Why are we doing this? This is not in our own best interest. Just because the Republicans are like, everything is for sale to the highest bidder, right? It's not a good idea. And we've really got to get a handle on this. Now, the good news is that let's say somebody does buy this energy land, this energy grid around the Columbia River. Well, the United States can take that by eminent domain, right? Like, sorry, we need it back. We're going to pay you what we think is market price. Here it is, buy, go away. So the good news is that there are ways for the government to come back and remedy the situation. We just, again, have to wait for the Democrats to get their walnuts together and do it, right? So that's what I would say with that. That's all I'm getting on that. It's kind of a confusing mess, that Flannery group. And that's the reason they want it to be that. They want it to be confusing and obfuscated. Let's move on. Jan Moore says, will there come a day when grassroots citizens collectively set rules to honor the majority in their country or region instead of being told what to do by politicians who want to benefit the minority? Well, we're in that day. You said, is there a day coming? The day is coming, honey. But it means that the people will get in the streets. The people will have to strike. This is our time. We are now entering this time, and it's going to take a pretty good long time. It might take up to 10 years for us to really turn this table, to turn the great big ship. It takes a lot of time, but yes, this is the beginning of that time. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to come with strife. It's going to come with power struggles, much like the 60s when the civil rights movement, right? These power centers aren't just going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I trampled on your rights. Let me fix it. Let me pick you up and dust you off, right? They're not going to do that. we have to challenge them. We have to literally challenge them and win and prove to them that we're the ones with the power, not them. So like sort of an uprising energy, right? So it's coming. We're coming. Let me just do one more question and then we'll maybe do a part 3. You'll have to just watch and see. If you subscribe and you click the notification bell, when I do a video, you'll get notified. Won't that be awesome? Okay, last question. Rima Goldman says, her question goes back to the dozen or so GOP Congress people who visited Russia soon after 45 slipped into office. Now they did that because they were, this was the party line. This was their reason for going, was they wanted to tell Russia, hey, don't meddle in our elections anymore. That's supposedly why they went. But your question is, are all or most or some, you're like, you're bargaining, are all, or okay, most, or okay, no, some, we'll take some, going to be in trouble for accepting dark money from Russia? Yes, they're going to be in big dark money trouble, big money trouble. I see them holding the bag and going, oh, the light comes on. Yeah, it's like you flip the light on and they've got the bag. They've got the goods in their hand. It's not going to be easily defendable. Okay. Your next question is Jack Smith have his sights on them? Yes, Jack Smith has his sights on them. This is international crimes. This is, there's a crime for a U.S. sitting congressperson or senator to accept money from a foreign country. I think that Jack Smith is, what I'm getting right now is 2 things. I'm getting sort of treason, some sort of treason, whatever you want to call that, when indictment or charge is the word. But I'm also getting RICO. So he's going to sort of scoop all of them up together. And this includes Trump, by the way. It really might include, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, it might include Jenny and Clarence Thomas. It's going to include some senators, some Congress people, but it might cast a shadow on some other Supreme Court judges as well. Other Supreme Court judges. I feel that these are right-wing judges, not Democrats. I don't know if Roberts is directly involved or if he's involved because he's implicated in some way, allegedly, maybe in a cover-up or just implicated. You didn't do it, but you knew about it, or what did you know about it? Also, I'm seeing Alito. So a lot of people can be connected. Okay. So there are some that have the bag in their hands, right? But there's others that don't have the bag in their hand, but there's a thread. There's a thread. There's a phone call. There's a text. There's an email. There's a burner phone. There's a satellite phone. There's a meeting. There's a meeting on a boat in international water. There's a meeting on a commuter train. There's a drop, meaning like I dropped something here and this person came and got it. It's bad, y'all. It's really bad. It looks bad for the Republicans. And honestly, as much as we all want justice, and I'm one of those people, it's really going to bring a price. We're going to pay a price for that justice with the destabilization of our country. It's going to further divide those MAGAs from reality, but also from their fellow Americans, right? So I'll say this is at the end of the video. If you're still watching me, you're some kind of diehard person that is a glutton for punishment. I will say you, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it a lot more as we go into the couple of months. If you have a spouse, if you have a brother or a son or some sort of family member or close friend or neighbor who's not very stable. I mean, be honest with yourself, right? Sometimes when it's our own family, we make excuses. This is the time you need to really be honest with yourself. Those hidden thoughts that you try not to think, that I wonder if this person could be violent. I wonder if this person could like just blow up and lose their mind. These are the kind of triggers that are going to trigger those people. If there ever was an opportunity for them to blow up and be violent towards you, towards your house, towards your pets, towards your possessions, this is it. This is the thing that I want you to hear me saying. Now, I also want you to know, I've said this before, but I haven't said it recently. If you're any color than white, any color, you need to be very careful, super, super aware. I'm sorry to have to tell you that. You need to be super careful. Your head needs to be on a swivel. Don't do things unnecessarily. What does that mean? Well, stay away from areas that have a bunch of, right wingers. Stay away from areas that are, rural. I'm sorry to tell you this, but this is what I need to tell you. Stay away from that crazy relative, right? Stay away from that crazy neighbor. Use your phone. If you're in an awkward position or you're in a position, and if you're not white, you understand what I'm saying. Get on your phone and talk to somebody, or go to Facebook Live or video it. But it's better to FaceTime somebody so that somebody can see you and you can see them, and you say, I'm feeling uncomfortable. Do you mind just being on the phone with me till I get to my car? Because that's a deterrent. You have your phone and you have it like this, and you point it and you're like, I'm on FaceTime. Anything you do, there's a witness right here. Okay. Now, the other thing is white people. Let me talk to my fellow white people. You want to talk about, we have a debt here, in my opinion. We have a debt here. We need to be allies. If you see something happening, video it, right? Video it. Sometimes calling 911 may not work because the perpetrator might be, police. Video it. Stay safe. But be an ally. Keep your head on a swivel. If you see something going down, stop your car, stay safe, but video it. We're all in this together. We're all in this together, right? If you've got friends that aren't white, reach out and say, hey, I want you to know that I'm an ally. I want you to put me in your phone. And if you feel uncomfortable, I want you to FaceTime me. Speak the words out loud. State that you're an ally. Let people know. We've got to be together. Okay? We have to stay together during this time. So, I don't say that to scare you guys. I say that because I feel like it's my duty to share with you things that are important. And I don't see this a lot. I don't see define a lot, right? Is 1 too many? Is 20 too many? Is 50 too many? What is a lot? I don't see 5 cities burning down. I don't see civil war, but I see people being more and more targeted, right? Our Asian friends, our Black friends, our brown friends, certainly our gay and transgender friends. Hell, our Democrats, our liberals, elected officials, all those people are going to be targets. I'm sorry to tell you that, but it's just, look, let's just be real, right? Let's be real. Get your head out of the sand and you'll be safer, right? If you're going to a protest, think twice about it. Just think twice about it. If you want to go, go, but you need to have an emergency plan. You know, they have they're telling me for you guys to download like a walkie-talkie app, because your cell phone is going to be useless. If you're at a protest with 10,000 people or 5,000 people, the cell phone this is going to be busy. This is like a brick. Not going to help you. Get the walkie-talkie app. Theoretically, you should be able to walkie-talkie your friends. Hey, I went over here. I'm at the park. I'm going to the car. You really shouldn't get separated. But if something happens, you need to have contingency plans, okay? That's what I'm going to end this on. I'm going to talk a lot more about this because I feel very, very strongly about it. I feel like things are going to happen. They just are. But I think that we can all step into the breach and help each other, okay? Take really, 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 really good care of yourself, okay? I want you every day to throw this energy off. Throw off the negative energy, throw off the toxic energy, stay safe, take really good care of yourself. All right. I'll be back soon with another video. Let me know what you think of this one in the comments. For entertainment purposes only.